Hey everybody, welcome back to Rule Thirds, your favorite film culture podcast, exclusive to RuleThirds.com. You know the drill. My name is Larry.
And my name is Sean.
And unfortunately, Mr. Mariner is a super busy person, and he couldn't...
He's on Mars.
And
we left him.
we left him on Mars.
Right? That was smooth. I like that tie-in.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice. I applaud you for that.
It was clever. Not
speaking of Mars and leaving people behind, today's episode is going to be on Ridley Scott's The Martian. We're going to be reviewing that for you, similarly to Black Mass, like we did 2 weeks ago. But before we do that, Sean, how have you been, man?
Good. I've been doing well. I've hit a bit of a ton of editing I have to do this week. That's been tough, but classes are good. Finished a screenplay, short film for a class that I'm pretty proud of, and talked to the professor. He liked it, has some notes moving forward. It's good. Yeah, things are going well.
Yeah, today was pretty fun. I shot a scene today with a handheld shot with the guy holding the camera was on a ripstick. So that was fun. That was a lot of fun. I'll show you the scene when it gets edited down.
That's actually one of the stories I should have told during the film school episode. I was cameraman on a project that involved a dolly shot, and we couldn't get the dolly, and it was the middle of winter, and so the dolly shot was me being pushed down an icy sidewalk on one of those rolling office chairs. It actually looked pretty good.
That's cool.
Don't know how safe it was.
Oh, it probably wasn't safe at all. But I mean, hey, you do what you got to do. I know a couple of friends who, to get pans with their camera, they put the camera on a rug, and they move the rug down.
That's actually really smart.
Yeah,
man, I should remember that.
It's just the poor man's pan. The
film school can't teach you everything. Sometimes desperation and no money teaches you stuff.
Basically,
anyway.
Yep. Welcome to film school. Anyway. So before we get to The Martian, I'm gonna kick it over to Sean, who's gonna handle the community segment.
Yes. All right, so Whitley, these are all comments from 3 Top 3 animated shows, by the way, animated TV shows, so please go check that out if you have not listened.
It was a pretty good episode.
Whitley says, I think it turned out well.
Yeah.
I still think I failed terribly at explaining why I like South Park, and mostly because I don't like South Park as the show as much as I love episodes, but whatever. So Whitley's saying that he thanked me for mentioning Redwall. Haven't seen much of it, but it's proof that Canadian programming deserves its fair share of recognition. Yes, Canada exports are good. His picks are number 3, Full Metal Alchemist. He wants to make sure we know that it's the original, not the passable other show, even though literally everyone else I've talked to says that Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood is vastly superior. But
I like both. Each his own. I like both quite a bit. 2
is Wolf's Rain, which I've never heard of. And number 1 is, rightfully so, Avatar: The Last Airbender. So, huzzah. And then my good friend Braxton commented, and he doesn't comment all the time, so thank you for commenting, Braxton. He says he stopped watching Cartoon Network's Friday nights when it became Fried Dynamite. I don't know what that means. Do you know what that means?
What kind of a name for a television block is that?
I don't know. I assume that's what he's referring to. I didn't watch Cartoon Network. It says that he said they tried too hard to be cool, and it's about the time they started doing the live action, and of course he hated the live action stuff because they're Cartoon Network.
Yes, there's a special place in hell for all the programming on CN Real.
Yeah. And then Seth, our good friend Seth, said that his favorite animated series is a toss-up between Danny Phantom and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Oh,
so he agrees with Brotherhood and Spirit, even though I've seen neither. Oh,
I suggest checking them both out. They're both pretty. Okay. They're both pretty great.
And Seth, you did say to give you a PDF of the script because I'm not going to friend you on Celtex. Sorry about that. What happened was I got a free semester-long trial of Final Draft 9 for my advanced screenwriting class, and it is just infinitely superior, so I haven't even gone in Celtex. So yes, why don't you email us at rulethirds@gmail.com. They'll go to all 3 of us so we can see it. That'll just be easier than us doing a Celtex account because I don't even know how to do that stuff.
I'm trying to talk to my we have a professor for this class called Script to Screen, which is basically screenwriting, and I'm trying to talk to him about getting some Final Draft 9 stuff going on.
It's amazing. I mean, Celtex is functioning, but man, Final Cut is really nice.
Final Cut, Final Draft. That's fun.
I just like final things. Okay.
Yeah, finality is very important.
Mm-hmm. And then we actually have one. I'm glad I actually checked because our good friend Gatlin.
Hey, Gatlin,
posted on Fantasy Movie League, which I always forget to check. But luckily, they had not posted anything. Except 3 Top 3 cartoons. 3 is Foster Home for Imaginary Friends.
Yeah.
Huzzah. Number 2 is Teen Titans, which is my
Nice.
roommate's one of his favorite shows.
Nice.
And then number 1 is Gravity Falls, which I really like.
I have not gotten
really
to
like
check
Gravity
that
Falls.
out yet.
And I feel like I should have mentioned that in honorable mentions, but I didn't. So, yes, I agree. Gravity Falls is great. And then they also say that Band Geeks is the best SpongeBob episode, which is, of course, objectively true. So,
All right,
hooray,
so
Band Geeks.
you're wrong, and we'll move on.
No, objectively true.
I will
Science proved it.
I will. Oh, please, I will fight this
No,
till
look,
the
okay,
day
so
I
one
die.
scientist had a beaker and it poured it into some liquid
We
into
took-
another beaker and it turned color. Okay, science it proved it.
We had one beaker and another beaker, and we got Band Geeks. Okay, that's just how science works.
It's science.
We can have this debate some other time. I will stand my ground firmly and eternally. That the
that
Krusty
could
Krab
be
training
fun if
video.
we ever are completely out of material. it's just not that
SpongeBob
exciting of a
debate
topic, you know?
episode. That'll be our next debate episode. me, Larry versus Max and Sean about the best SpongeBob episode. That'll be fun.
Tune in. Anyway, we should probably get to this topic.
Yeah, but thanks, Sean. Also, reminder of Fantasy Movie League. Obviously, I haven't checked. I think
haven't done it in the entire fall season.
I think I did mine. I forgot to check. I always try doing mine on like a Monday night or Tuesday afternoon. So yeah, our password is cinemattack.
Yep,
So-
find the Rule Thirds League on fantasymovieleague.com. And again, we're not paid. It's just a
Yeah,
thing we do.
not
so.
paid. We just like
It'd
doing
be
it.
nice if we could get paid though. So
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll look into it. All right, so let's talk about The Martian. Ridley Scott, one of the first Oscar contender movies. We had Black Mass, and now we have the Martian.
I don't know actually.
Well, I mean,
I don't know if that's the vibe.
Well, at least from the outside, it feels like it's
Perhaps,
Ridley
yeah,
Scott,
Ridley Scott,
Matt Damon,
it's got
space,
a star-studded cast.
yeah.
Okay.
But maybe that gives us some very interesting insight into what we think about the film. So again, our format's very simple. We give mini theses, and then we avoid spoilers in the beginning, and then we lay down the yellow tape eventually. So keep
And
your
we go
eyes
into
peeled.
spoilers.
Yeah, and then we spoil. So keep your eyes peeled for that, or your
Or
ears peeled.
Ow, that sounds
Ow, yeah.
painful.
Well,
But
you know,
so does eyes peeled.
Yeah,
Now that you-
honestly, like
What-
that's a
what does that
weird
mean?
expression. I don't know.
Huh.
I really.
Anyway, this is not a podcast about
Yeah.
common idioms and why they're weird.
Although
Though
that
I
could
might consider
probably,
starting that.
yeah, that might just be a great podcast. Who knows?
It feels more like a good YouTube show. you
Yeah,
know?
get the
like
right-
a weekly.
get-
your word of the week. Yeah.
Get Hank
Anyway,
Green on it. He could make it great.
we should honestly get to the subject.
Yes,
We are
honestly.
just
Okay, yes. I'm
scattered
sorry.
here.
I'm sorry. Sean, tell me what you thought about The Martian.
All right, I'm going to keep this very simple. The Martian has an extremely likable protagonist, and they present this protagonist with a ton of obstacles that up the stakes, that are engaging, that are really fun to watch him fix, and that's the movie, and that's why it works. It is that simple. You like this guy, you want him to succeed, and he keeps succeeding in really fun, interesting ways. And it's a funny movie. And the supporting cast it's like the best supporting cast I've seen in years, with just the names there, and they all do well. And it's a beautiful movie. I thought Mars would get old. It always looks good. And Matt Damon is just so dang likable. I'm going to keep coming back to that. Anyway, it's that simple. I don't have any grand thesis on like what it means, though actually I do. We'll get to it, but I don't want to say it here. At the end of the day, it is just a really fun movie because you want to root for this guy, and it's all about getting him to safety. You can't help but get into it. So I will be giving The Martian an 8.5 out of 10.
Very nice.
I do have some problems, and I'll get there, but I wanted to be
yes.
positive at the beginning.
Yes, yes,
so.
yes. Well, you know what, Sean? I'm going to continue that trend because
Okay.
I also did like The Martian quite a bit.
Yay.
The Martian does something that I really admire in that instead of going for the more psychologically scarring space movie or the
Gravity.
psychologically confusing space movie,
2001: A Space Odyssey.
I was talking about Interstellar.
I don't know if that's confusing.
Well, I mean, the
different
end
podcast.
of it. The end of it. Instead of that, we get an optimistic, fun, comedic space adventure movie. And you know what? It works, surprisingly
Yeah.
enough. It is one of the most simplistically narrative structured movies I've ever seen, like ever. And it manages to do so much with so little. Matt Damon deserves a special award for like one of the most easily likable people ever. I mean, I think Matt Damon is just so likable here. The supporting cast with quite a few standouts in my opinion in the supporting cast. You also have a wonderful soundtrack and a wonderful score. and you have this this visual interpretation of Mars that is just so grandiose and so accurate looking. Like that's like this is what Mars would look like. But the most important thing really is that you have a fun movie that is very engaging and very funny. And though it might be thematically lacking, it's still a very enjoyable film, and it's easily one of the best films I've seen this year, although there hasn't been too much competition. But I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10 as well. Very solid, great movie that I wholly recommend. So that's our average, 8.5 out of 10. And we're just gonna.
Wow, I'm amazed you did that math just right on the spot. I couldn't do that.
Oh,
That's
man,
impressive.
I know.
You found that average.
I know. I might as well be a math major. Let's
call
get
Ron Howard. He's gonna make a movie starring Russell Crowe about you. So.
Clearly.
Or I could have done a Rain Man joke. I should have done the Rain Man joke because he was good at math. Man. Anyway,
maybe Aaron Sorkin will write a movie about me starring Brad Pitt.
Solid.
Okay. So let's start up. I just want to bring up this point because I think this is a very important point, and I made it in my thesis. It's one of the most important points I have about this film. I just love the approach it takes to space, and just the overall, just narratively. Because look, we can talk all day about Gravity and Interstellar. I mean, I know we disagree on both of those films. You like Gravity way more than I do, and you like Interstellar way more than I do.
Really? Huh.
Oh yes, you should rewatch some of those videos. I think Gravity has. I think there are some elements of Gravity I just don't like. I think it's a bit repetitive with some of its build-ups, and I think the script just kind of gets really dumb at some moments. And then Interstellar, I think, just takes too long for me to get into, and it's just really. Like, it was so psychologically confusing about, like, the fourth dimension and stuff, and it just gets really...
That sounds like a you problem.
That sounds like a you problem. But, yeah, it is a problem.
I know you're the host, but may I suggest a starting point for this discussion? You said thematically not empty, but lacking.
Okay,
was that the terminology?
Yeah, I'll get... Let me... I'm connecting it. Sort of.
Okay. Sorry.
So yeah, those movies, I respect those movies. They're very impressive, and they're good movies. But like, I don't know, something about it just didn't click for me. This movie clicks just on a variety of levels because not only does it just get straight to it, although maybe a little too quickly into the plot.
It's like boom, right away.
It does go pretty quickly. I would have liked a little bit more banter, but even still, that is a bit of a strength. It gets right to the important aspects of it, and it's just so comedically enjoyable. There's so many great lines that come from all of these characters. Such great comedic timing.
That's something that's interesting. This is it's not a comedy, but it's just such a comedic movie. I did not expect that.
Yeah, I know. It's so weird. Like it should be like a drama, like a thriller, but it's like, so funny.
Okay, it is fun to compare to Gravity and Interstellar because, they're the more recent kind of space movies, not really sci-fi, but they're space movies.
Well, I mean, yeah, like every year we seem to have this one big space movie.
Yeah, and what's funny is that it's so light compared to those two.
Very.
And that's actually my first, slightly negative note, which is the drama could have hit more. It hits, but I think because it's taken kind of lightly, because there are a lot of the, one-liners... I'm the best botanist on the planet.
Space pirate.
And that's a good joke. Space pirate. All of these jokes are amazing.
Yes.
Okay, not amazing, but they're good. There wasn't a bad joke in the movie, but the drama didn't hit as much as I think it could. So that's my first minor note. But I think people should know that going in. This isn't that edge of your seat thriller like Gravity,
which the trailers make it out to be.
A little bit.
In a sense.
I don't know if I really got that.
I didn't get that total vibe, but there's definitely a little bit of oh my god,
yeah.
Is he gonna make it? Which really doesn't really kick in until the last third.
Right, and we'll get to that probably in the spoiler section.
Yes, in the spoiler section, obviously.
To be safe.
Right.
But people should know that going in, that if you don't want to see this because you're not if you're not feeling up for this intense survival story, I'm not a huge fan of survival movies because they can be, I don't know, boring to downright unpleasant if they're done poorly. But this isn't. It technically is, but it's funny. And the main character isn't all broody and what is my humanity or any of that. It's just he's optimistic about it. He's making the one-liners and he remains likable throughout the whole movie. So go for it. It's lighter than you think.
Oh my god,
to
absolutely.
a tiny fault, is I guess how I put it.
Well, yeah, there's this point that I've been thinking about a lot. So it's very comedic, and its narrative is very streamlined. It's very simple. The narrative structure. It's literally just obstacle fixed it, and then eventually big rescue attempt. At the end. Now here's the thing: that is all well and good. Obviously, there are moments though in The Martian where it does try to get very emotional. And I respect that. At the same time, though, I think they sacrificed a lot of that emotion by choosing that streamlined narrative and that lighter tone. And as I said, sort of less psychological questioning sort of thing, and they don't, because this movie is so easy. It would be so easy to to hone in on the feelings of isolation and loneliness on Mars. What, you don't agree?
Yeah, I feel like one of the things I walked away from here was a huge respect for Ridley Scott, who definitely came back strong here.
Yes,
a bit of a down period for me, at least. Not a fan of Prometheus.
Not a fan of Prometheus. Not a fan of Exodus Gods. Not a fan of Exodus Gods and Kings either.
I have not seen it, but anyway, because I think this is a very impressive balance.
Yes,
because if it came across as too cheesy and too, Matt Damon looks at the camera. Literally, he does a log, so he is actually looking at you for a lot of his humor,
which is actually a brilliant way to sort of break the fourth wall, but not.
Right, it lets the character talk, because otherwise, the whole movie, he's just wandering around talking to himself. And though technically he is, him talking to a video log. Oh, he's vlogging.
Yeah,
wow,
vlogging.
That just hit me. Anyway,
Mars vlog.
That's the most interesting vlog you'll ever find, I bet. Because of that, it lets him talk and work through things, and we get to know him better. But anyway, it'd be so easy to make it. He just looks at the camera and goes, one-liner, and we all laugh, and the Seinfeld music plays. They didn't do that. Because as much as I did, a little while ago, I did say some of the drama's robbed. I want to be clear that it's not all robbed. There are some genuinely amazing, just drama moments. Boom, they hit. Just overall, not as dramatic as I think it could have been.
Right.
That doesn't mean it can't get serious. And I think the balance is so close. I really respect Ridley Scott for that, because I think it's a tricky balance to reach. I don't agree that it would be easy to do. I think they took a route of enjoyability over intensity, and I think that was a smart move, honestly. I enjoyed it more than I think I would have if it was, 127 hours but on Mars.
Well, I mean, I was saying if you took out the comedic tone. I was saying if we just went for more of the serious psychological tone, because the concept is it lends itself to that. Absolutely. Yeah. And there are moments in the film that do hone on that. Unfortunately, because the film decides to take more of a comedic aspect, we lose some of the real impact of those scenes.
Yeah, I think it's so little though. I think it's such a minor note.
Yeah, it's definitely not something that I would. It's not. I can easily look past it, because this is not really a criticize. I can criticize the film on its own, but this is really more so just an observation. Because because it's saying. I mean, I can say this about a ton of different movies about what they could have done, what they the route they could have taken. But that's not criticizing the film.
Ocean's 11.
That's a great film.
Yes, but couldn't they have done a very serious heist movie about vengeance / redemption, make it about how some people just can't change and make this great thing? Yes, and maybe it would have had more dramatic weight. Would it be as good a movie? No. Would it be as enjoyable? No. So I think I get what you're saying.
Well, I mean,
something was lost, but overall was worth it. Would you say?
Well, let's not doubt the fact that Ridley Scott couldn't make a good psychological movie. I mean,
Blade Runner is his very serious sci-fi, and that's my second favorite movie of all time. So yes, I would say that I would agree that he can do serious.
I'm just saying that because they take one route, the emotional scenes, I agree with you. The emotional scenes they don't really gel as well, in my opinion, as the comedic scenes, because that's just how the movie's based. Also, going back to the comment you talked about that I made, I feel that the film lacks a really strong theme.
Okay. It's actually, I think it's too simple. And that's why some might see it as not a theme. I think the theme is pretty straightforward. I think it's pretty much just, yay, science. This isn't unique. People have been saying this. If you think about it, every obstacle in the movie comes up, and it's throughout the whole movie, there's the big all is lost moment, you know?
Yes.
One in particular, but no spoilers yet. And every time he solves it with this optimism and this hands-on approach and this scientific knowledge and using, you know, kind of his brain, for lack of a better term, to solve the problem. And I think that's kind of its message, and that would be more the theme. It's basically the push of science to solve problems, the
perseverance of
the human spirit.
Perhaps. Yes, I get that.
A little basic. I think it's there, though.
It's very basic.
It's a good message. Like, again, that's one of my positive notes. The movie is pretty much just obstacle after obstacle, but seeing him fix it he's seen him fix each obstacle is really fun.
Yeah.
So I think it works. And so I think that's the theme of the movie. I don't think it's empty because I think that's there. And I got that good feeling, you know?
I get it. I mean, listen, I'm kind of being a little negative right now. It sounds like I'm being negative towards the film. I think this film's great. I just think that, I mean, that is the theme. It's just perseverance. Keep going and thinking you can solve any problems, you know? And yeah, science is cool. But I mean, it's just like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like the theme is there enough. I think it's there. I think the movie works. I don't think its lack of real, you know, thematic weight holds it back at all. I just wish there was a little more of it. Maybe it would have had a bigger impact on me as not just... Because, like, walking out of The Martian, I was like, that was a fun, comedic space movie with a great third act. But then, you know, thinking about it a little bit, I don't know if I'll remember this movie, you know, in maybe a couple of years. Because, like, even Interstellar, even though I think The Martian is a better film, the Interstellar just has much more of an impact thematically and, like, psychologically.
Well, I disagree. I'm going to remember The Martian. It's definitely in the top tier of favorite movies this year, along with
this year
Age
for
of Ultron
sure.
and Inside Out. But I disagree. I think the theme is there. So,
I mean, well, I'm not saying it's there. I'm just saying it's not strong enough. That's what I feel. But hey, you know, we feel free to disagree. Let's be positive now.
Yes.
Matt Damon is great.
Awesome.
I love Matt Damon.
So like, here's what's funny.
Wow.
The film started with, I was watching him like, wow, Matt Damon's kind of just playing himself. Yeah. This is kind of the persona of Matt Damon. Mm-hmm. I'm like, man, that's kind of a bummer. Like, I don't get this character. I'm seeing Matt Damon. But then a little bit into the movie, I'm like, I really want them to rescue Matt Damon. Like, I like Matt Damon. Why? Yeah. So why not root for him? And so I think it actually, like, it's kind of a negative where I don't know if he was really playing that much of a character. It was more playing him and selling the emotions. Like, he totally sold all the emotions he was going through, but he didn't. I don't know if he felt like that much of a distinct character. I kind of always saw Matt Damon.
Yeah, but I mean, that works, though. It works.
Yeah, because he's so likable.
And you know what? Hey, look, if you want to structure a character around an actor who has a lot of character, screw it. Do it. Yeah.
Character actors are a thing. If Matt Damon's kind of stepping into that for a little bit, fine.
That's actually funny. Matt Damon is a character actor because he plays Matt Damon.
Yeah, there you go. That's kind of what the movie is.
That's funny.
And that's the strength of the movie, is that your focus is rescuing this person, your protagonist. Does he survive? And so many survival movies, I honestly don't care. You know? Like, I don't care if they die in the Alaska wilderness or all this, you know, stuff. But Matt Damon, you really want to see get back. You really want to.
For a multitude of reasons. I mean, not only because he's like, he seems like a nice guy and he's really funny. He's also really smart. Like, yeah. I would, like, this dude, like, if this dude has managed to contact you from Mars using hexadecimals and like planting crops on Mars. What?
Just limited spoilers.
Oh, well, you know, I mean, I don't think that gives, I mean, we know he plants crops, whatever.
It's okay.
The point of the matter is, you want this guy back. Yeah. This guy could probably help you out a lot.
And that's, Matt Damon nailed it, Ridley Scott nailed it, the writing nailed it, in that if this character was overly chipper, like if it was Kimmy Schmidt, because if you watch that show, Larry?
I've seen all season one.
If Kimmy Schmidt was trapped on Mars, it might be a little too much. Because it would just be her being so positive and bubbly and uplifting, which works in that show's context of a comedy with a ton of side characters. But if you're just on your own, you need to be the perfect level of likable, but not overly positive.
And so that's when we get the emotional scenes, like the sort of all is lost scenes.
Right, and that's why I'm saying that they did work. Because if they hadn't worked, I wouldn't have rooted for the character. He'd be unbearably positive. Wow, that sounds cynical. Stop being positive.
Well, so again, I am like, it's a breath of fresh air seeing this more positive, streamlined, space movie. I like it. I think more people should make space movies like this.
But it's not too light, especially
It's definitely not too light. Oh no, there are some very dramatic moments in this film for sure. Some of them work better than others, but whatever.
Yes. Should we jump to supporting?
Oh, absolutely. Okay, can I just run down the list of standouts for me personally?
It's a really long list. It's really impressive.
Well, for me, there are like just a few specific people. Chiwetel Ejiofor is great. I love Chiwetel Ejiofor.
I cannot pronounce his name.
Chiwetel Ejiofor. That's what I've heard.
I don't
Look
know
it up. Look up a pronunciation guide.
He's great, though.
He's so good. And it's not even like, it's one of those performances where it's sort of like Hank Pym, Douglas from Ant-Man. Sorry, I don't know why I was blanking on that. You can't really pinpoint any very specific reasons why he's great. He's just so natural, and he's just so good at playing this stand-up guy. Good for him. He's great.
Yeah.
Why did he get an "and" credit? This guy deserves a full credit.
Well, actually, the "and" is better. The "and" credit gets you the prestige.
I guess so.
Well, no, it's true. I learned about that with Pirates of the Caribbean because I had a big DVD display as a Christmas gift. It had Johnny Depp, Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley, and Jeffrey Rush. And we were see, the "and" is because Jeffrey Rush is a senior actor and stuff. So he deserved the "and" is basically how it went.
Well, what about "with"? That's
also good.
Also,
both
okay.
Are good.
Okay.
Well, I think "with" is for smaller roles and is for prestige stuff. I don't know the exact roles, but
then again, though, to be fair, Matt Damon got the first credit, and that's a big credit
because he's the protagonist. You can't pull that if you're the main character,
right? But still, he's great. Jeff Daniels is really good. He's always really good.
I'm so glad they didn't make him a villain.
Oh, thank God he didn't make him.
And that's
a villain.
not a spoiler. You shouldn't expect him to be a villain, but I was kind of worried for a bit that he'd be like.
He is a little intimidating, as the NASA guy. But it works.
He wants to get him back. He's not the guy going, "No, leave him to die."
He's just realistic about it.
Right.
He goes at it from a PR approach, which is basically how he would go about it.
It's understandable. But Jeff Daniels is good.
Yeah, and oh my God, Donald Glover. God bless Donald Glover.
He's the one that went to comedy for me.
Oh, what? No!
Yeah. He was too
Donald Glover.
He was
in this
doing
movie.
the twitchy thing. It felt like he was in a sitcom.
I loved it. I loved his performance. I loved the fall too. Apparently that wasn't planned. That just happened and they went on with it after that. I know he was okay. In a movie that is so star-studded like this, where everybody's so stand-up, you got to have that one eccentric guy. That one guy who's just a little cuckoo.
I think he played it too sitcom-y.
I'm sorry. I loved the whole see, you're Earth.
Yeah, I just think it was cartoonish.
In a movie that's this light, I thought it was funny and I thought it was great. Perhaps it's a little. Perhaps it is a little much. But I think Donald Glover's a hilarious comedian. He's one of my favorites. So much fun to watch for him. And the rest of the cast, just the entire cast here is just a great.
Jessica
cast.
Chastain was great.
Yep.
We have Michael Pena. We have
Kate Mara.
Kate Mara is always good.
Yep.
Rose Bonds. And then Kristen Wiig.
Oh yes, Kristen Wiig.
So what's funny is that all these supporting characters, there are so many of them, and some of them come in very late. And normally that would bother me, but something weird about this movie is I couldn't really tell you much about these supporting characters, but they were all just so well acted and they filled the roles they needed. I didn't mind. Matt Damon's the super defined one. Jessica Chastain, halfway there, but still not fully formed, I would say. Just in terms of screen time, no one else really has time to be fully formed like Matt Damon's character. But everyone else is just kind of really well performed and just a good character, even if I can't tell you much about them. And I don't think that's necessarily a fault here. Put that under the category of tiny little flaws that I'm adding to this review. And Sean Bean was good.
Oh yeah, Sean Bean. Obviously.
I love that Sean Bean had to explain. No, he doesn't die. Sean Bean had to explain what the Lord of the Rings reference was. That was
yes. Brilliant. Oh my God, that moment was great. I love that. Also, I think some people take for granted. Maybe not take for granted is the right way to say it, but I just thought about this. Some people kind of assume that if a big name actor is playing a role, we automatically have to give them screen time and flesh out their characters because they're such a big name.
Yeah, that's true. This didn't do that.
Yeah, and it's you know what? Sometimes big name actors can just come in and give a great performance about a side character, and it works.
Yeah,
it's only for their benefit anyway. So, brava to Ridley Scott for, I remember the first time me and you were talking about this movie, we just noticed its amazing cast.
Yeah.
We were like,
in terms of numbers and everyone involved is really talented.
Yeah,
and
we were just like, impressive. Man, can't wait for this movie. And I was expecting a much different movie, but I enjoyed this one also. So good on that. I guess we should quickly hit visuals because, I mean, they're good.
Yeah, let me say this.
Good.
I hate desert movies usually because I find them
bland.
I
remember you told me about this.
Unpleasant to watch.
Yeah.
And Mars is like super desert, but it looks good. And there was enough variety of like inside shots, which I liked the slight alien vibe. Did you catch on that? Like there's something about the space tech. Ridley Scott was behind the camera. There were a few moments where like, ooh, that felt a little like Alien, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was enough variety, and there was some nighttime stuff, and there was enough like interior of like a vehicle, and like it mixed up enough that it wasn't just this red planet, and then the next shot, well, it's red planet. Oh, what's next? A red planet. Like they mixed it up well, and so I enjoyed it visually. I think it was like a really good looking movie.
Yeah, I mean, I think what helps is that we always have Matt Damon there, and we're not super distracted.
He's really good looking. What? What?
Nah, hey. But I think just because we're focused on Matt Damon, and we don't get too many Mars shots where we just end up staring at some void without anything.
When they're there, they're very good.
But I mean, he uses them sparingly, which is nice.
And I guess one quick visual thing: a few CGI shots felt a little off. Like with ships taken up, it was very slight, but worth noting. Just while we're on visuals,
I don't know. I don't know. Nothing noticed for me. But I mean, hey, I'll rewatch. I'll look at it.
And I guess while we're on visuals, I kind of hinted at it earlier, but I liked that it switched to different cameras sometimes. Like there are quite a few shots from like a shoulder camera on his suit, or a camera pointed at the driver's seat of his not a car, rover,
and the helmet cam
truck,
helmet cam also.
Yeah, so that was good to mix it up. It was good. And it didn't feel gimmicky. It was smoothly incorporated, so that was good.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. Before we get to action, which I do want to touch upon, soundtrack is so much fun.
Yes,
I think
Starman was awesome. That was a great scene.
Here's what's interesting. I don't know why they went for disco.
Because it's awesome.
Disco is great. Now, part of me wants to say like, oh, all of these songs, when you think about them, the songs' messages, they work perfectly in time with what the movie's doing. And I have yet to really get a good theory on that, besides for just like the idea of like turning the beat around is like maybe like, turning your situation around. But Matt Damon strictly says, no, I will not turn the beat around as a joke. So I think they're just having a lot of fun. I think the way they incorporate it too is a lot of fun, and it has shown me the light on just how great of a song "I Will Survive" is. When that came out of the credit, too. I'm sorry for spoiling it, but but "I Will Survive" is the credit song, and it's perfect. It's just like literally you hear that wonderful glissando on the piano, and you hear those notes, and it's just such a great song. It's perfect too.
Honestly, I hope that Guardians of the Galaxy pushes like this trend of fun soundtracks in movies.
Yeah, it's just fun, man. The songs are good, classics.
Yeah, and like the Starman sequence is my favorite.
Oh yes, that
and
too.
It's just a happy sequence. It's a celebratory. It's fun. It's not all over, but things are looking up, and it's just fun. You get to enjoy the celebration with the characters, and it's okay to have fun, to be light like that,
and also the one, the credit, like not when I Will Survive kicks in, the credit sequence, the song before that, just that whole sequence, like the credit sequence. It's a montage.
Which is it's a great callback. You don't see that much anymore.
Yeah, but it's a great montage.
A clip, like a shot of the actor and their name appears, and it cross fades another, and
we won't tell you what that montage consists of, but it's a great montage.
It consists of shots of the actor.
Oh my god. But it's a great montage, and the music's just so uplifting and so fun, and it's so poppy. It works perfectly with the theme of the movie.
This is the general tone. Again, this is one of the most uplifting movies. It might be the most uplifting movie of the year, because even like Inside Out had its sad stuff and kind of made you think.
Especially considering we're about to hit a season where we're gonna get some of the most like depressing and kind
Oscar
of like
season.
Yeah, hooray for Oscar season.
It's a very uplifting movie. I was smiling like a fool walking out of the.
Yes, I was dancing.
Grinning like
dancing,
a fool.
Man.
Is that the expression? Anyway,
I don't know. I was dancing at "I Will Survive" walking out. I think the last thing we should touch upon is the final third, and I think we should get into some spoilers.
Well, I think you said action.
Oh, action. The final third. I was being,
okay. So are we doing spoilers now?
Yeah. So let's
Actually, before we go into spoilers, I want to do some quick overall things. Another thing,
Okay.
I think it's a tiny bit too long. And what's weird is that while I was watching it, it didn't feel slow or that I wanted it to end. But when I was thinking back, I realized, man, this movie's been going for a while. And so I feel like it's a 2.5-hour movie. If you cut like 10 minutes across the entire film, it'd be pretty much perfect. Maybe a little less. And I don't know what I cut. I can't.
It definitely has length, but I noticed it had a pretty decent length. But like honestly, I was pretty engaged with the whole thing, so I didn't.
Yeah,
mind.
that's the thing. I was engaged, but it felt a little tiring, just the tiniest bit. So if I don't know, just cut back a tiny bit, it would have been perfect. My other note is for the third act, so I guess we should just enter spoilers.
Yeah. Let's line up the yellow tape. Oh yeah, please go see it. It's definitely one of the best films of the year.
This isn't really a big spoiler movie, so if you don't care too much, it's okay if you stick around. But please go see it anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Yellow tape. Spoilers. Third act. Wonderful.
When Matt Damon met the literal Martian, I mean, man.
Yeah,
that would have been terrible.
Man, that title, so topical.
It's double meaning, man.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, let's do real spoilers. So what did you want to say about the third act?
I think the third act is just really gripping. It's really good. Perhaps, okay, they do this... I don't know. They do this thing in the third... the thing in the third act is when, like, Matt Damon misses her grip, and they sort of do this weird dance with the rope. I don't think the movie warrants that. I mean, it would have been cool to maybe have, like, a moment where, oh, no, we missed him. Mm-hmm. Darn. Another moment of, the end is nigh. But
the all is lost moment.
All is lost moment. But again... They went for it, but yet they didn't. It was weird. I think it would have just been easier for just, hey, I meet your hand and now you're saved. I don't know. It was just a weird, very minor, but it's just this weird, like, oh, okay, now we're going to do a Wall-E thing where we're dancing and moving around in circles.
So here's the thing. That's actually another note. The climax is kind of short, or like there's so much buildup when they're talking about that he has to like take apart the shuttle. I mean, the lander. He's waiting. He has no roof, and they're getting close. And they're not going to be able to reach him. They have to, accelerate. They have to blow a bomb to slow down. Like, there's so much going on to build up. But then the actual climax, it resolves so quickly. Jessica Chastain goes out. Matt Damon catches her hand. There you go. That's it. That's it. And so it was at the point, it was so quick and it felt so simple that when they were being pulled back into the shuttle, I'm like, what's going to go wrong? Oh, God. Oh, geez. And I was prepared. And then it cut to Matt Damon on Earth, and it was surprising. And so I think that just might be like leftovers of the dramaticness not hitting 100%. It's only hitting at like 90%. The climax needed a bit more weight. It needed more time. It needed one more all is lost moment. Perhaps, which by the way, I'm taking that from American Dad. I don't want to take credit for that. The all is lost moment is a funny line from that show, but it applies here. Maybe one more all is lost moment. You're right, Larry.
Yeah,
and it would have worked would have been right on.
Yeah, and here's another minor thing I have that I just thought about. Look, I like the comedic angle. It's funny, making jokes. It's all well and good. Part of me thinks that if we were in this situation, maybe we wouldn't be cracking jokes. I know they're astronauts, and they've done stuff like this before. And, I would understand cracking jokes maybe in the beginning, or when they find him, maybe as a coping mechanism. They understand he's alive now, and they're joking around with him. It's a coping mechanism for, like, their sheer shock.
That's the point. I think it kind of all is a coping mechanism. And I think that's actually character revealing, less so than... Like, they didn't think about how someone would react. I think they thought about how this person would react. Like, I got a very optimistic character here.
Yeah, which is nice. And I think it's fun. And it's a fun, lighthearted thing. Still, though, at the climax, though, at that moment, couldn't we have gotten maybe, the Iron Man joke? It's funny.
That was awesome, though. I love
it. Was funny.
Joke.
And I think the execution of the Iron Man idea is really cool. It's just, really, again, the movie's so smart. And just all, I think that's another thing I didn't mention, but I mean, it was kind of... I think we just kind of implied it, but the movie is so smart and just continuously finding ways to solve the obstacks. Just on a
that's the joy of it. It's just on a smart character.
Yeah, just on a plot level and like a screenplay level. Really smart ways of finding just smart ways of keeping the movie going. Just finding ways to keep this guy coming up with ideas. But, would have liked a little bit more serious. Because at that moment, the tone was just sort of fluctuating for me. And I don't know. It wasn't fully getting there for me. But still, though, it kind of reminded me a lot of Interstellar. That one moment with Matthew McConaughey and the trigger, like the joystick thing. And, like, he's lining it up. I can't remember exactly what it is. But it reminded me a lot of that. And that was one of the better parts of the film. So
wait,
go
when
Martian.
the station's spinning?
Yeah.
Dude, that's the best scene in the movie. No Time for Caution. It's my favorite scene. There's nothing off. That's a wonderful sequence.
Oh, wait.
Anyway.
Wait, what do you mean? Oh, no.
Interstellar.
Yeah. I'm not saying there's a bad part of that scene. I think that scene's great. Yay, that scene. I'm just saying it reminded me of that moment in The Martian when they're getting him. Like the retrieval
but it wasn't
sequence.
as good. Okay, gotcha. Cool.
But, like, because the tone was kind of fluctuating a little bit, as I mentioned before.
So, I guess maybe that's the final note. The Martian is... You know what? I'll just repeat myself. The Martian is an incredibly light, enjoyable, funny, uplifting, survival, science movie with a really likable lead to whatever tiny flaw that brings.
Yeah.
Like, it was... I don't know. I think it was the right choice. Maybe they could have really pushed it and given us a really gritty, moving... human spirit, all this stuff, but I don't think it would have worked as well. I don't think I would have enjoyed it as much, even if it did work as well. So I'm glad they went this route. And the side effects, we mentioned the drama doesn't hit as much. The climax feels a bit short for me. You think the tone doesn't quite work during the same climax. So again, obviously some negative came from it, but I think it was worth it. I think it was definitely worth it.
I also think it was worth it, and I also think. I've been repeating myself a lot about this point, but I think this year for me has just been really barren of really just great movies.
Yeah, honestly, I've been writing down all the movies I've seen in theaters this year. I've been ranking them, and in different tiers, and there are only 3 movies at this top tier. So if the year ended right now, that's my top three best of 2015. It's Avengers: Age of Ultron, Inside Out, and now The Martian.
Oh, so really? You'd place this above Inside Out? Would you?
No. That was sorry. Okay. Age of Ultron's 1, Inside Out's 2, Martian's 3.
Oh, really? I'm
sorry. Age of Ultron. I'm a nerd.
I know, but part of me kind of respects Age of Ultron more than I like it, and I think that's just sort of
really. Flip that for me.
Well, it's a conflict.
I'm good about respect for it, but anyway, we're digressing here.
I know. Sorry, we can talk about that at the end of the year when we talk about the end of the year. Which should
I assume we will, but hopefully not. Like, imagine if enough movies come out that push Age of Ultron off the top 3, great. Well, Steve Jobs and Star Wars could do it, so we'll see.
I'm definitely gonna bring up Age of Ultron by the end of the year at some point, because there's a point I want to make about just the year in general with Age of Ultron. So we'll get to there. But again, it's just so nice I'm just really hoping that Oscar season ranks up the 10. And this is a good sign. We have Black Mass, which is a very well-made film. Not amazing, but I could definitely see it being on the top 10, just out of its just because I think it was very well made. And here we have a film.
It's not on my top 10.
Well, I mean, maybe top 10 best of the year, not top 10 favorite. We'll have to see. But as far as this film is it is also engaging for me, and my personality just clicks with it. And it's also just a very well made film, and we need more films like that for this year. Holy moly. And I'm just going to say that. I'm going to stick 8.5 out of 10. It's just one of those things where you're sort of like, what could have been? You know, what we could have gotten, a psychologically engaging, incredibly moving human spirit. But for what we got, I'll take it. And you know what?
Honestly, it was still uplifting about the human spirit and science. Yeah. I still got it. Good for you. Like, good for science. I came out of there going, yeah, science.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, this is one of those situations where I will take what we got instead of what could have been, as opposed to some other films this year where I would have taken what could have been as opposed to what we got.
Like Black Mass. Like, that was my whole point about Black Mass, was there was this interesting movie in there, but it went to biopic. It went to, scattered, and
Yeah, so, that's kind of me for Age of Ultron. We'll get to that later. I have, about this. We've talked about it.
Yes, and we will talk about it again.
Yes, we will talk about it again. But in the meantime, 8.5 out of 10, really solid. Please go see The Martian. It's really good.
Don't see Sicario.
Oh, I've been meaning to see Sicario.
It has this fundamental problem of its protagonist doesn't do anything. And it really drags it down.
Not
and Emily Blunt is so good. Why don't you use her more? She is so good, and she's good in this, but the character just doesn't do much.
That's a shame. That movie's getting great reviews too.
I know.
It's currently tied. It's tied for The Martian on Metacritic right now.
Exactly. That's why I'm pushing for you to choose The Martian over Sicario. I'm sorry, but I had to do it.
There we go.
Go see Martian.
All right, so that's our review of The Martian. Of course, your question is, did you see The Martian? What did you think? Also, another question: do you prefer the more psychologically moving, dramatic space film like Gravity or Interstellar or 2001, or do you prefer a more uplifting space movie like The Martian
or like Apollo 13? I haven't seen it, but is that uplifting and stuff?
I don't know if it's
that doesn't seem as light.
It's definitely lighter. It's dramatic, obviously, with the subject matter, but it's much more uplifting. Or movies like Planet 51. Which are very lighthearted space movies. Whatever. It's animated. It's weird. You should see it, though. It's funny. So that's this week. Next week, if I'm not mistaken, we will be covering The Walk.
Yes, we're finally getting back into reviews. There's a little bit of a downtime, but now movies are coming out that we want to see, we want to talk about. So The Walk is next.
There's also, and I know Pan also comes out, which I also want to see. So I might maybe give short thoughts, like how you gave your thoughts on Sicario.
I don't think I'm seeing Pan. I think I'll be sticking to The Walk. But
right. Hopefully the cinema at my school will be showing both. Okay. So I might maybe before we talk about The Walk, I'll give my quick thoughts on Pan.
Yes, but we're all doing The Walk. That's the official
episode. Yes, we're all doing The Walk, and hopefully Maxwell will be back.
Let's hope.
Yeah, seriously, it's going to be another big one. We're really getting deep into Oscar season with The Walk. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Robert Zemeckis, right? Yep. Back to the Future director. It's going to be good. But until then, my name is Larry.
And my name is Sean.
And thanks for tuning in, and you'll hear us later.
See you.
See you.
Max isn't here, so I had to step in. You're welcome, Max.